I know the quality isn't great, but I wanted to go ahead and kick off Mental Health Awareness for May. And maybe touch on why it's difficult for some people to reach out when they need help. And this is for educational purposes, but imagine your friend doesn't usually ask for a lot of help or usually complain all that much, but they shoot you a text that says something like, "I'm not in a good spot." So even though it's an inconvenient time and it's interrupting maybe your supper, you shoot another text back saying, "Hey, what's going on?" And you hear them out. Then maybe you're carrying on in your day-to-day life and a coworker is looking a little more frazzled than usual, and just doesn't seem to be themselves. And every time you ask how they are, they say, "I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, living the dream, I'm fine." But one day, even if you feel a little uncomfortable, you ask, "Is there anything I can help you with?" You know, you're not seeming to be thriving at the moment. Can I hear you out? And then, even though it's inconvenient, because your coffee's back at your desk and it's getting cold, it's interrupted maybe the morning schedule that you had set for yourself, you listen. And then you both leave the conversation where you feel swell because you know they're in a better place mentally now. And they feel swell because they know they were heard. They weren't invisible. The things that they were facing mattered to somebody else, not just them. Now flip the scenario. You don't reach out a lot. You don't complain a whole lot. You find it difficult to let people in. You're not always super trusting. But then your best friend is talking to you and they ask how you are. And you say, "I'm kind of in a dark spot." And then they fire off, "You've got this." And then they continue on their path, talking about whatever, maybe talking about their own mental health that might be suffering. And so you think, well, maybe it's just not the time. The time isn't now. Time isn't now. And then you think, well, maybe I'll tell my mom. And so you walk in and you tell her, "Hey, things aren't going so great." And then the phone rings and she says, "Hold on just a second." She answers the phone. And then after she gets off the phone, she starts talking about whatever she was on the phone about. And so you think, well, now it's just not the time. Now it's just not the time. And then a coworker notices that maybe you're not thriving. Maybe you're not acting like yourself. And usually when they ask you how you are, you say, "I'm fine," because you're thinking, people that I thought really cared about me didn't want to hear me, so why are they going to want to? But then they throw you a curveball. They say, "Is there anything I can help you with? Can I hear you out?" And if you think about it for even a second longer, you're not going to spill your guts. So, you lay it all out there. Every thought that's going on in that noggin, you let it stream. And instead of trying to give you advice, instead of trying to say, "Well, I can't do anything about that, maybe you should call this number," they just listen. And then by the end of it, you feel a lot lighter because you were heard. And they feel a lot lighter and swell because they helped someone. But imagine in that scenario, if maybe you went back to your mom and you were like, "Hey, the other day when I said things weren't going so great," and then the phone rang again. And she still answered the phone. And then after she got off the phone, she started talking about whatever she was on the phone about. Or your friend again reached out and asked how you were. And so you said, things aren't so great. And then they say, "Well, you're strong." And then they carry on their path doing whatever. saying whatever. It's not that these other forms of help, the other numbers and hotlines and such that you can call, aren't great resources. It's that sometimes the most help that someone could need in a moment could be as simple as hearing them out. So the next time you think about asking someone, how are you? And then not being committed to listening because it might be inconvenient or it might be interrupting your schedule. Remember, it might be a day that you take part in saving a life. I love you. You matter. Have a good day.